With multiple changes continuously happening around the National Hockey League, player performance fluctuating right, left, and center, we're rapidly approaching week 4. We're already going to be around the 10-game mark very, very soon. So we get a general idea of what teams are looking like to start the season. So I wanted to give you guys 7 players that I believe you absolutely must add to your team, given your league and league size, in order to put together the best early season roster so you guys can win your weeks. I highly recommend using this video in tandem with last video, the must drop players before week 4, in order to drastically improve your guys' lineups going forward. But that being said, guys, let's get right into the video. Starting us off, guys, we have Jonas Johansson of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who is 65% owned currently. He's played in 7 of Tampa's last 8 games to start the season, with a .925 save percentage so far through those 7 games. The volume is going to continue to be there with Vasilevsky's injury, and I don't think they're going to any other goalie unless they claim one off of waivers. So for right now, Johansen is an absolute must-add if he's available in your team, just given the sheer fact of the volume that he's been able to get early on in the season. He's had back-to-back shutouts in his last 2 games. He's an absolute must-add in 12-team leagues, even 10-team leagues if you have any type of goaltending woes to start the season early on. A lot of people like to panic on goalies, but it's understandable because of how volatile they are. In any league that has any type of goalie stats, whether it's points, whether it's categories, he should be owned in pretty much every single league right now, given the fact that his volume is just absolutely insane to start off the season due to Vasilevsky's injury. At 65% owned, I anticipate his ownership going up drastically due to the back-to-back shutouts that just happened, so be sure to get your hands on this guy if you can. Next up is Evan Rodrigues, guys. Absolutely blazing hot to start the season. 8 points in 6 games. He's 56% owned. He's still line 1, power play 1. Shot volume is great, 21 shots on goal in his last 6 games. His average time on ice is up to around 18-19 minutes, which is great. He's now triple eligible center, left wing, and right wing, so his value gets even better going forward. He is an absolute must-add in 12-plus team leagues. 10-team leagues, I'm not 100% sure on him just yet, because I understand that there are some higher-end players that are still struggling early on in the season. We're not even 10 games in yet, so I recommend you hold on those higher end guys, especially if you drafted them pretty high in your drafts. But if you have any type of injury in a 10-team league, I highly recommend grabbing Evan Rodrigues. At 56% owned, he continues to be a great option when it comes to shot volume and production early on in the season. Nick Schmaltz is now 37% owned, and I highly recommend grabbing him as he continues to profit off of Clayton Keller's hot start. He's got 4 points in his last 3 games. He's still line 1, power play 1. His peripherals aren't necessarily the best. He's got like an average shot rate, but he does have point per game upside, and he's shown it historically as well too. If you look at his 2 past seasons, he's hovered around a point a game. So if you need any type of help in the scoring categories, or you have players that are struggling, again, not elite players and not players you invested high draft picks in that are struggling, like Johnny Gaudreau, Schmaltz is an absolute must add in 12-plus team leagues. Even some 10-team leagues, again, you can stream him if he has a good week. I don't think that he's good enough to necessarily roster in 10-team leagues due to his peripherals not being as good, but in 12-team leagues, I want absolutely everything to do with this guy. He's going to continue to produce on that top line, and he's center right wing eligible, and right wing is a scarce enough position to begin with, so I highly recommend grabbing Nick Schmaltz while he's still available. Up next is Adam Fantilli. He's 32% owned. Again, a 12-team guy that you definitely want to roster right now. 3 points in his last 3 games. Nothing crazy, but the 10 shots is pretty substantial going forward, given the fact that he's now seeing over a 2-minute increase in his average time on ice due to Patrick Laine being injured. The more opportunity is there for Fantilli with Laine being out, and if he's able to capitalize on this opportunity going forward, which it seems like he has been able to do so, he will continue to get these minutes going forward. He's playing line 2 right now and power play 1. I want him in 12-team leagues again because of the upside. If they see that Fantilli could be a solid top 6 center for them, they might move Laine back to the wing and played him with Fantilli, for example. I know Boone Jenner is still sitting in that top 6, but if Fantilli again could establish himself as being the #1 center in Columbus where there isn't a lot of competition, I want exposure to this guy in 12+ team leagues. There's still a lot of upside, and at 32% owned, I'm willing to take a shot on this guy and roster him given the fact that he's now playing close to 17-18 minutes a night going forward. Jesperi Kotkaniemi is somebody that I had in my sell high video, and he's the 30% owned at this point. He has 7 points in his last 5 games. Is this the Kotkaniemi breakout year that we've been waiting for? I mentioned in the sell high video that he's still young, he's only 23 years old, and could have a lot of upside still. He is still playing line 2 minutes with Sebastian Aho being back in the lineup. Andrei Svechnikov is coming back soon. That top 6 is going to look very, very good. Just, again, given the season that Jarvis has had already, in combination with Nietzsche's, Aho, Teravainen now playing well. So Kotkaniemi could definitely profit off of this top 6. I'm not concerned at all that he is on power play too, given the fact that the Canes primarily split their power play. I'm taking a chance on this guy in 12-team leagues. The peripherals might not necessarily be there every night, but very similar to Schmaltz, if he has point per game upside, which it seems like he does early on, I want exposure to this guy, because then even if his production isn't there necessarily in terms of peripherals, I would be able to sell high on this guy. And just given the fact that he's had such a hot start, I want to roster this guy in my 12+ team leagues if there's a spot available, and say Fantilli's gone and say Schmaltz is gone, or if I'm just weak at center to begin with and I have a couple injuries I need to fill. I really like Kotkaniemi, and I really like what I'm seeing out of him early on in the season. I really think there's potential here for a breakout with Kotkaniemi, so I highly recommend grabbing him while he's still available. Dipping below the 30% ownership mark, for those of you that are in some deeper leagues, Ryan Johansen has 5 points in 7 games, and this might not seem all crazy compared to guys like Kotkaniemi, but he's got 4 power play points in this span, guys. He's 3rd currently in the National Hockey League for expected goals. His shot volume has surprisingly been solid so far, given the fact that Johansen is primarily a pure playmaker and doesn't really shoot the puck a ton. He's currently getting exposure to Mikko Rantanen on line 2, so he's playing with a 50+ goal scorer on top of that. The power play 1 upside is already showing for Johansen going forward. I think he's a must add for those of you that are in deeper leagues, or if he's available. And again, you need a centerman that is going to produce and get you a ton of power play points. The exposure in Colorado's top 6 is just a huge advantage, and with Johansen being only 29% owned, I expect this number to increase going forward, especially if he continues to produce on the power play like he's done so far this season. And finishing up our video, guys, we have a fantasy puck, a favorite here in Sam Bennett. He's 22% owned. He should be readily available to most people. 40 points, 193 shots, and 150 hits in 63 games played. He's an absolute must-own if you're in a bangers league. He should slot right into line 2 and power play 2 going forward, maybe even power play 1, depending on how the Panthers decide to deploy him. He gets exposure to Verhaeghe and Matthew Tkachuk immediately, which is what we saw last season, which allowed him to not only be a peripherals machine, but have good production on top of that. The big issue with Bennett is he is continuously injured throughout the season, but coming back should be a game time decision on Saturday. I want him in every single 12+ team league possible if he's available. If he's available on your waiver wire, and again, you count hits and shots in your league, I highly recommend grabbing this guy while he's still available. Bennett was an absolute beast last year in terms of peripherals, and the production is very solid on top of that. So I highly recommend picking up Sam Bennett if he's available. That is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below who you are looking to add to your team. Is there anyone in this video that I didn't include that had a really hot start that you've been looking to add to your team from the waiver wire? Let me know in the comments down below. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck going into week 4. Hopefully you're winning your week 3 matchup right now. I will see you in the next video. Have yourself a fantastic rest of the day.